Hello and welcome to our summer talk with Andreas Carlson, group leader of the Christian Democratic Party in the Swedish Riksdag. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
My name is Gabriele Baumann and I represent the Stockholm office of the German Konrad Adenauer Foundation. Our general objective is to foster dialogue with politicians and experts, as well as to give a better insight into current political affairs in the Nordic countries. I have 3 questions to you, Mr. Carlson. Trust in democratic institutions and the political leaders is fundamental for a democracy. In light of the ongoing corona crisis, my first question would be, what can your party, the Christian Democrats, do to keep trust into the political system?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I think what we see in Sweden has seen the last month is that the trust in the political system, but also the political approach to the coronavirus in Sweden has went down. I think we have a lack of trust now in society for both the government's day-to-day politics, but also the approach to it. What we see in Sweden for the Christian Democrats is not a big lack of confidence due to the crisis. Our opinion, what we see in the opinion of the public is that we still have quite the same numbers, the same polls like the elections. But I'm worried, as your question mentioned, you mentioned in the question, I'm worried for the lack of trust to the political system. So what we try to do as a political party is to, of course, address this lack of trust and to see the problem with clear eyes and have good political questions, good reforms in our agenda to solve the problems that people see. And talking about the coronavirus, we already in March demanded inquiry, an expert-led inquiry that was independent from political parties to both advise, but also to find ways forward what we can learn from this crisis, but also who had a responsibility in with every step in this crisis management. So then we was quite criticized as a party when we launched that suggestion. But now we see, and I think actually this week the government will make a decision to actually start this inquiry with independent experts.
Thank you. Thank you for this very interesting, very actual insight. My second question would be about the fact that both Sweden and Germany face common challenges from populism, from populist parties. So how has the COVID crisis changed the challenge of populism in Sweden? Did it change the challenge of populism?
I think the approach to, when we talk about the Sweden Democrats, the approach to that party in the political context has changed a bit, because now in this crisis, the Sweden Democrats have been invited to talks with the other party leaders, the discussions and the information talks that the Prime Minister has held with all the party leaders, all the parties in the Riksdag. And I see this is a new approach to the Sweden Democrats from the government. And I think when we're talking about Sweden, it's hard to compare to Germany and other countries. I think you have to find the solutions specific for every country. But in Sweden, we have one of the biggest parties now, that is the Sweden Democrats. Over 1 million people voted for them in the last election. And if you always reject to even talk to them, you actually give them the gift to be outside the room where decisions are made. And you can't keep them accountable for the policy. So what we think as a party is that it's important to actually talk to all parties, and we made a decision for the Christian Democrats last year to talk to Sweden Democrats as any party, and always also to we can make agreements with Sweden Democrats as we can with the Social Democrats or the Greens, but the partner we want to work with is more the value parties that we share the values with. And the first-hand alternative for us is, of course, the moderate party, but we also want to build to form a government again with the Liberals if they change their mind and will work for the center-right government again.
But thank you very much. My third question would be then on the EU. The crisis turned out to be one of the greatest challenges ever faced by the common European project. In line with that, I want to ask you, what expectations do you have on Germany's EU presidency, which starts tomorrow, 1st of July?
Yeah, the expectations and the stakes are high, of course, and the struggles for the European Union is, you can't underestimate them. But if any country will live up to the expectations, I think it's Germany, and I think it's a good time now for Germany to take the lead, and I hope that the German leadership, the presidency of Germany, would actually help European Union to unite again. And another expectation is that we will push the Germany and other countries, and I know Sweden is really strong for that, push for a modern and efficient long-term budget and also recovery plan for the Europe after Corona.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much for the trust in Germany and its presidency. Thank you for your answers, Mr. Carlson. To conclude this interview, we are all having difficulties planning our summer holiday this year. And Andreas, what are your plans? How has the crisis affected your summer plans?
Yeah, I will stay in Sweden, of course, but my plans, the way they have changed is that we haven't made so much plans actually for the summer. We have two kids, they are 3 and 1 years, and it's hard for them, especially for the 3-year-old son, to understand why he can't run to grandpa and grandma and hug them when we meet. But we will try to meet family and friends, but of course, according to the restrictions and rules and common sense, of course, we want to be part of slowing the infection spread in Sweden, and we will not travel around so much, but we're gonna swim and bath with the family. Thinking about my kids, they really want to play on the beaches, and we try to find the beaches that are not so crowded, and trying to have so good summer we can. Which I think we all need a bit of rest after this very intense half year.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great. Sounds like a great summer. So thank you very much for the interview, and I wish you a pleasant summer. All the best for you, Mr. Carlson. Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope the best for you also this summer, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.